So a few weeks ago, I have finished my manuscript on Stoicism. This is a book about Stoicism. It's a modern primer, and I believe there are many interesting new insights and fresh angles in this book. This would be my first book, not mainly about Japan, and so I am really glad. It's the manuscript is with my editors in London, and as the adage goes, editor is always right. So I don't know if well whether they would make arrangements and rearrangements and cuts and so on. So anyway, in the process of writing the book, I rediscovered Socrates, and it was a really wonderful journey to rediscover Socrates. Socrates is arguably the father or godfather of Stoicism. And I think it is really important to connect Stoicism to Socrates. Socrates, of course, regarded human dialogue as very important. Nowadays, we're living in a world of echo chambers and alternative facts, and people just ignoring each other, even when they probably need to talk to each other. When they find the opinions slightly different, they, treat the other party as arch rivals and enemies, and which is not really great. So I think it was a great wisdom of Socrates to, not to stick to a particular ideology, but to the process of dialogue between people itself. Also, Stoicism is very interesting because it's not a personality cult of personality. It's not tied to a particular individual. Of course, there are many wonderful writers in Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and maybe Kazuo Ishiguro. But people do not associate Stoicism with a particular individual. I think that's the beauty of it. And, cult of personality can be problematic today. For example, in the entertainment world, we do have a lot of cult of personality. Taylor Swift, for example, she's a really great artist, but the genre of music itself is deeper than any particular individual, even if that individual is someone as great as Taylor Swift. So I think we have this really profound problem with the culture of cult of personality. And in that sense, it is important to realize that Stoicism flourished in ancient Greek and Rome before this culture of cult of personality came along and dominated a human civilization. So I think it's an act of remembering these things, which is very important. Also, Stoicism is about aligning with the laws of the universe. So, we of course have our agenda, our dreams, and we have our plans. But if it doesn't go well with the laws of nature, then it's bound to be a failure, like the perpetual motion machine. So Elon Musk typically says that we can ignore the regulations or legal system and so on because they are after all human conventions, but we cannot ignore laws of nature. That's I think the motto of Elon Musk, and look at him. He is very successful, starting these companies like Tesla, SpaceX, and acquiring Twitter, and turning it to X. I think it's very important to recognize the fact that we are all living in a world where there are certain laws of nature, and we would ignore them at our own peril. And alignment is a beautiful metaphor because we can keep our individuality. It's not that we are the laws of nature itself. We actually are laws of nature, embodied here and there. But it's important to keep our individuality. And we have our illusion of free will, which is great, because having our illusion of free will is a testimony to the fact that your mind and brain are intact. Well, they're the same thing, isn't it? And also your brain gut axis is intact, functioning well. So it's great that you have an illusion of free will. Having said that, your illusion of free will need to be aligned with laws of nature. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. You cannot really build up your well-being. So that's Stoicism. So there are many interesting points to argue about Stoicism. This idea of the potential infinite by Aristotle, sorry. Aristotle is the Japanese way of pronouncing his name, Aristotle. And life is about potential infinite. So it's about predicting your next action, what it should be. So it's a next action prediction. And, by doing that, by assuring that you know what you should do the next time, then you are in effect in position of the potential infinite. That's great wisdom of Aristotle. And so, it's also, it has also a lot to do with Stoicism. And it's an interesting fact that once you have this grab on the potential infinite, then you actually have the most important wisdom in your life. You are always in the flow or in the zone, in the terminology of Csikszentmihalyi, and you can always enjoy your life. You have your own ikigai. In this manuscript, I of course discussed the relationship between ikigai and Stoicism, which I think was really great. And also, I, discussed how you can curb your, emotions as your enthusiasm. Because, in neuroscience, there are many interesting research going on, including research on reappraisal. Reappraisal is when your prefrontal cortex tries to reinterpret what you see, what you fear, what do you hear, and what emotion do you have. And so, you cannot control your emotion. That's a really bad idea. The most basic assumption about Stoicism is that you you do not try to control what you cannot control in principle. Many mistakes in life actually comes from trying to control what you cannot control. So that's Stoicism 101. And it's quite interesting how you can, what a really rich world of actions and world views you can draw from that principle alone. So I think, not trying to control what you cannot control is a very important wisdom in Stoicism. And that's separate from having no emotions at all. The illusory perception of Stoicism as something that is so emotionless, without joys or ups and downs. This has done, I think, a lot of disservice to the world, because people have misunderstood Stoicism. Stoicism is more about diversity and inclusion, and how to embrace your own diversity, because you do have a really diverse self within you. So it's quite interesting how you can align yourself with the laws of nature while maintaining your own agency and while maintaining your own diversity. I think that's the beauty of Stoicism. So I have written my book, and I hope it will come out. soon enough, and I hope you can have really wonderful time reading it. So that's it about Stoicism from me at this moment.